Welcome here. This is the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. We meet on a weekly basis to share information, share encouragement, share a few sarcastic jabs, etc. It is always interesting for me. And I do have one. I did have somebody, one female that was going to come this morning, but I don't see her. So I guess I'm all alone again this morning. So welcome everyone. I would like to begin by having everyone again introduce themselves, where you are, what you do, and anything that's new that we might be interested in. So, Carlo, you're on the left side, so how would you like to begin?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Carlo Savio in Las Vegas. I'm a small business management and financial consultant, digitally fluent, self-taught web engineer, proficient in several online programming languages, been accessing the internet almost daily since 1992, and it's fun to be here again this Tuesday.
Right on. Glad you came. And the next one, and by the way, I just love your digitally literate. That says it all.
And fluent. And fluent.
And fluent, yeah. Craig, you're next, but it looks like you're muted and.
Well, I'll come back.
Oh, okay.
My name's Craig. I'm in Western New York, and I help small businesses with their online presence. I also do a bunch of affiliate marketing on the side.
Right on. I see we have a new guest. I'm just going to text him to see if he'd like to come on. Okay, so nice to have you here as usual, Craig.
Thank you.
And Jay, you're the one that's got all the news.
Oh, hello. Hello, my name is Jay, and my company is Affiliate Resources Incorporated, and I help people just like you get started in the world of online marketing. So I'm right now in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. Normally hailing from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm here at an internet marketing conference with 15 like-minded individuals, and we are bouncing ideas off of each other in terms of online business, sales funnel processes, how we can make each other's businesses grow and much better. Today is an all-day conference held by a couple of internet millionaires, and very excited to be attending, and very excited to be hanging out with you guys once again every week.
It's so nice to have you here, Jay. And now we were just while we were in the green room, we just kind of realized that our topic this morning was a topic that was being covered in your conference. So we look forward to hearing about that.
Awesome.
So thank you for being here, Jay, and I think it's really nice that you are taking time out from your conference to join us. It's very nice. So Nathan, how about you? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Nathan. I'm currently in Ensenada, Baja California, and working on a couple of projects. One, which I mentioned briefly earlier, Legends of Online Marketing Revealing Their Secrets, which is why I asked Jay about an interview. So I'm interviewing a whole bunch of online entrepreneurs. Many of them are friends of mine, so that makes it a bit easier. The other project I'm working on is End All Wars by Ending the War Within, which is a project which shows people how to end all mental suffering. And so it's a huge goal, and my intention is to make it as broad a focus as possible. So that's what I'm working on.
Right on. Well, and Nathan, I think, is the one that's been with us the very longest. I don't remember anymore when we started. I guess I
I
should
don't
dive
either.
back in and see if I can figure it out.
I think it was about a year and a half ago, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know. So welcome here, Nathan, and
Thank you.
Paul. We can hardly see you, but I'm sure we'll be able to hear you.
Well, that's good to know. So I'm on the right side of the screen, but I'm residing on the left coast of Canada, in a little place called Victoria, which I'm not going to tell you about because we don't like people moving here.
Oh, come on.
I'm just kidding. It's the best kept secret.
Go away! Go away!
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's actually probably one of the most interesting little tech hives of businesses from say 5 to 25 people doing excess of $1 million that millions of dollars that nobody even knows about. There's every day I'm running into these businesses that have developed here and decided that although they love living here, most of their clients are worldwide. So it's an interesting place to live, and what I like to do is I'm on a mission to stamp out sales breath. I want people to stop selling and start engaging their customers in the customer's buying process. So I do that for select customers.
Right on. And it's always nice to have you here, Paul. And I might say that when you're talking about the island here, sometimes we say, if any more people move to the island, we're going to sink.
That'll be the day it's built on rock.
Yeah. Vancouver Island, for those out there who don't know about it, it is on the left coast of Canada, but it's also the warmest place in Canada. So that's why we get a lot of attention here. So if you can believe it, here we are in January, and I still have geraniums blooming on my balcony. They're still going. So at some point I have to cut them back in preparation for summer, but I hate to do that. So yeah, and we're just about at the point where we will see cherry blossoms on View Street, which is what we're famous for. In early February, we have cherry blossoms on View Street. So.
And the crocuses too, I would think.
Yes, and snowdrops, etc. So, yeah, it's a great place to live. So I might say a little bit about what I do. My business is Work Style Lifestyle Consulting, and I love working with solopreneurs to help them solidify their direction and stay motivated and work on their systems so that they become more efficient, etc. And I like to provide something that's worthwhile, and that's what this Being Your Own CEO Success Circle is all about. It's here for anybody who wants to come and play and figure out how to do things. We all often need to play with things before we're ready to go out there and do things. So this is a great spot to be able to do that, and people are welcome. And before we get to our topic this morning, I do want to welcome Jazz. He's a gentleman I think I ran into in the Plus Your Business Network, and he's out there watching. He says he's in the middle of dinner with the kids, so he's monitoring. So welcome here, Jazz. So this morning we thought we would talk about, well, last time we were talking about what we need to do to take care of our website, and what flowed from that was, you know, what's the content? What do we how do we put all that together, especially if we're in business and wanting people to do certain things. And so the topic of you know, how we reflect a sales funnel on our website came up. And of course, Jay was just telling us in the green room earlier that his group that he's meeting with in Las Vegas talked about that yesterday. So, serendipity, it just things like that happen. So I guess the few pieces that I'm aware of, I keep hearing over and over that there needs to be a call to action on all our pages, but how we do that call to action, I guess, is going to vary in a variety of ways. And so I'm interested to hear what other people are doing. I can tell you that on my website, for example, I quite often have a sidebar that invites people to connect with me by email, by sending me an email message. And of course, every time you put a button on your site that says click here to join or click here to purchase or whatever, those are calls to action. But I'm sure there are lots more than that. So I would be very interested to hear. I'm assuming everybody here. No, I was going to say everybody here has a website, but I'm very much aware that Paul does not have a website. Am I right, Paul?
He doesn't want to be seen as selling.
No.
Yeah. I've stopped selling, so I don't have it. No, actually,
I think came out of the phone book and put off his webpage.
Yeah, the new one will be up at the end of the month. It's on schedule for that. So.
Oh, you're going to have one.
Oh, sure.
That's good. What about you, Nathan? Do you have a website?
Oh, I bloody well hope so, yeah. Several of them, actually.
Okay. And I know that Jay does, and I know that Craig does. What about you, Carlo? Do you have a website? Yes? 5. Okay. So obviously we've got a group of people here that are going to have a variety of ways of placing calls to action, but maybe we should think a little bit about that sales funnel that we mentioned. What exactly is the sales funnel? Does anybody want to venture an opinion about what exactly that is? Oh, Jay.
How about me?
Well, you get your turn too.
Yeah, like
No, I'm kidding. We're just cutting the fool.
Well, in my humble opinion, I think everyone's website needs to have an end result. Now, that end result can be a call, a click, a come by, whatever it is you want your buyers, potential buyers, to do. And if that's getting them to click on a link to do something, whether it be buy, click, come in, whatever, that's your end result. So the process is to get a funnel to that end result. And that can happen in a variety of different ways, ranging from a call to action at the bottom, in having them engage with your content through comments, at which point you can say, that you can then inside the comments saying, thanks for your comments. If you want to learn more about this, here's the link to our end result, right? And it's funny, we were talking about this last night, and it really defines the success or the non-success of a website. I don't want to call it failure, but I just want to call it the non-success of a website, because everyone's website here can all, including mine, can always do better, right? Mm-hmm. We can always improve, and the way we improve is by listening to our audience. So You know, and how do you listen to your audience? Well, you pop Google Analytics inside your site so that you can monitor your website's your traffic's behavior, meaning where do they come in, how long do they stay, what pages do they funnel through, and where do they leave, and at what point do they leave on your site. You know, there's something called an exit rate and a bounce rate inside Google Analytics that can actually tell you which page people are leaving the most, and approximately what time people are leaving that particular page. And what I mean by what time is if your page is, let's say, 1,000 words, and that takes, we'll say, 5 minutes to read. So if you notice the majority of your traffic is leaving, say, between 1 and 2 minutes, there is a reason probably within your content that's creating either a distraction or there might be an error around that 1 to 2 minute mark. So it's important to read your own content with your own timer, and then kind of look as to, oh, well, where is this, you know, and why are people leaving around here? And you'd be surprised how you can find these little tiny things, you know. So if you can refine your sales funnel by analyzing your traffic's behavior, that will, and then create a clear call to action, that will immensely improve your sales, your conversions, you know, without a doubt. You know, it's all about learning the behavior of your traffic. How do they interact with your own website?
Oh. Yes. So, I'm getting a really
Echo.
So measuring the traffic behavior, that could tell us. I always thought that the sales funnel was layers of greater complexity and cost of the services that you provide. That was always my definition of a sales funnel.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly does depend on the type of site that you have, right? I mean, but in most cases, everyone's website is going to have an end result. So however you want to get people to that end result is certainly up to you, whether it be from homepage, blog post, conversion, you know, to landing, we call it a landing page or a money page, you know, blog post to money page, you know, however you end up getting people to that particular money page, that's certainly up to you. Whether it be, you know, taking people through your services and then getting them to call you, you know, for example, like a house cleaner company, you know, client of ours, we don't get them to blog. We just focus really on having good quality content on their site, you know, telling them what services they have, you know. So for example, we're pushing a campaign for their small office cleaning service. So now they're ranked for that particular keyword. So now what happens is we get people coming in from organic search using the keyword, you know, small office cleaning. They land on that particular page. They read about the range of services within that sector of their service tier, and then at the bottom, call or click here for a free quote, and it works like magic, right? It really does, you know. And we've learned that the majority of people are on mobile and not on desktop. So what we've done is we've adjusted that particular page to be more responsive in terms of getting people to just push a button to call them. And again, we were able to track that, and it works like a charm. You know, so it's understanding your funnel, your audience's behavior. You know.
Hello,
yes, Carlo, go ahead.
Thank you. Another way to look at the sales funnel, listening to your perception and Jay's great explanation, is you step back a little bit and think about the sales process. And the sales process would be taking a suspect to a prospect, qualifying it to a customer, and then a paying customer. And so each one of the things that Jay highlighted would coincide with a moment in that process. depending on if you're selling a service. Also think about it as you walk into a mall, and unless you're predetermined to which door you're going to go to, you've got many choices. Well, the same thing with the internet. So if you're proactively soliciting certain kind of people, and to borrow a concept, I saw it online a while ago, that if you're making your site appear to the searcher like, oh yeah, this is the place I'm looking for. You know, how many of us in the early days would be bookmarking just about half of the internet, never going back there?
Yes, I remember that.
And then weeding out, curating and weeding out the dead links, people that failed out of the business. But the fun part is just going through both of those processes in parallel. You know, the presenting yourself to your public. There's an old marketing adage that says either you create your public persona, or the public will create the persona, and it might be not the one you want.
So that's an interesting piece. I remember this is quite a long time ago. I think it was Paul. You were talking to me one time about doing our prospecting based on the sales process, and so that's but thinking in terms of all the parts of your website in relation to each one of those steps is an interesting way to be looking at it and thinking about it. Yeah.
I think that the first thing that is sometimes problematic with people is they don't figure out the buying process of their customers. We all have been buying things for so long that we do it reflectively, like it's a reflex as opposed to a thought process. And so I always try and keep it very simple with the first component being awareness. People, if they're not aware of you, they can't find you. The second component being trust. If they don't trust you or your product, they won't buy from you. The third part I always think is the want part, and want is sort of usually represent it by an arrow, and the head of the arrow being the shaft being want, and the head of it being now. And then the last part is the second last is the buy, and then the very last is the echo. And so to me, your website should be designed to facilitate people in each process of that simple buying process. And so and it should also not only be there to service them there, but to encourage and track them as to where they are and trying to take them to the next step in the process. So whenever I put something together, I start with that simple diagram and then say, okay, so what on my website is here for the people that are just first time? What do I do? And then just go through the process. So to me, that's my simple buying process that I like to work with clients.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a variety of ways that you can apply that.
Yep.
I just recently, some of you may have read my post. I just designed a prospecting relationship management tool using Evernote, and I use those steps in the sales process as part of that, the way I put it together. So there's a lot of different ways that we can make use of that sales process, but certainly I'm not at all sure. Well, I guess I would really like to start do a bit of I don't know, just go out and onto the net and open up some website and see if I could identify each, what page each one of those stages shows up. It would be an interesting exercise.
I think a lot of I think there's a lot that make the sales funnel complicated. Meaning, it just well, I mean, obviously it depends on the offer, but in most cases, there's a lot of people and a lot of websites that makes the sales funnel or getting the end result very long and drawn out. And we live in a digital world where we have internet ADD, and people just want the end result yesterday. And I think it's important to recognize that. Now, obviously, you need to learn about your traffic's behavior, as I was mentioning earlier. And in your research, if you notice that that is kind of what people want, similar to what I said about the Merry Maids, we'd learn that it's primarily mobile, and they want to call them right away. Now they know that they do that service, and they want the service. As opposed to, well, welcome to the, service page of the office cleaning area. We are here to make sure that, and they now they know that you do it. Now they want the service. So, you need to understand that. So if you recognize that, make that sales process easy for them to get a hold of you or to buy from you. If it's like a medical service that you're providing, obviously people are going to be wanting to do more due diligence, so you're going to want to educate them. Or if it's a financial decision that they're trying to make a decision on, like investing in Wealthy Affiliate or starting their own online business, they're going to take more time to pull the trigger, if you will, and make that decision. So you need to leverage that situation and maybe add an email opt-in saying, hey, listen, you want basically a private tour, and I'll show you how to get started. But at the end of the day, simplify the process of getting leads or conversions. Don't make it complicated, because it doesn't need to be, and the more complicated it is, this is actually something that really we all agreed on last night, is don't make the conversion complicated. Don't make it too complicated. Let them make their own sound decision, and then go from there.
So the secret, Jay, is exactly what you're talking about. Knowing where your customer contacts you or where they are in the buying process. With today's customer rapidly becoming more mobile than anything, using mobile devices than anything else, they're usually, almost by the time they're looking on their mobile device, they're in the buying stage already.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's almost like reversing the whole process. And if they don't buy, then back them up to where they are. But you're right. Have the ability, the minute they hit you, to buy. It is exceedingly, especially for commercial transactions. When you're talking about long, drawn-out business processes, it's somewhat different. But no, you're absolutely spot on with that. And the huge impact that mobile is having is astounding to me. It's gone from it is the prominent device that people have. It's in their hand all the time, even when they're watching TV and driving and doing everything else.
I'm going to share something here with you, and it's something by Google, and it's something called Zero Moment of Truth. And I encourage you to take a look at that. It's a great manifesto, if you will. You can also Google Zero Moment of Truth. And it's funny. Their title says, whether we're shopping for cornflakes, concert tickets, or a honeymoon in Paris, the internet has changed how we decide what to buy. At Google, we call this online decision-making moment the Zero Moment of Truth, or simply ZMOT. And then they break it down into like micro moments and whatnot. So it's a great resource, and it really can help you understand your online audience, in terms of where they are, as what Paul says, in the buying space, in the sales funnel. So anyways, I do have to go. I want to say thank you, everyone, for listening to me. And I hope you have a great the rest of your time here. And I will certainly see you soon.
You're going to have fun. Have fun, Jay, at your conference.
My brain is now a sponge, so.
Right. Thanks for your contribution this morning, Jay.
My pleasure. All right. Bye-bye.
See you again soon. Yeah. Well, we have a little bit of a break here. I want to recognize Heidi Hornline, who is in the audience. She says she doesn't have bandwidth this morning, so she's out there just listening in. So welcome here, Heidi. Glad you were able to come by. So yeah, so what I take away from what Jay said was that, I mean, keep it simple. Really, really keep it simple. Yeah.
Laura, if I may, to that end, bouncing off what Paul said about being mobile, you could also, on your site, make it easy for them just to press a button to call from their mobile phone.
Right.
So if you got an element that has a call to action, you just, in one hand, you just press the button and say, hey, tell me more about that.
Click to call can be very, click to call can be very, very powerful, especially in local markets.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you all the way.
Click to call can be very powerful, especially in local markets.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's relatively simple to code it in.
Well, there's my next task. Put a click to call button.
One caution on that, people. I don't know how many websites or that I've been on, when you go to the connect to, nobody's home. So if you're going to put click to call on there, be sure and answer the damn phone and make sure you're aware of where that call's coming from. And it isn't like, hello, it's, hey, my business, how can I help you?
Let me embellish that for you, Paul.
Would you please, Carlos?
One of the better ways to do that, the most economical, is to use your Google Voice number. And when you code in, let it go to your Google Voice number. Then in whatever control panel you use as relates to the number, let that identify that voice number as the incoming call. So, if you're out and about, your phone comes in, you know that it's from Google Voice. You can also buy inexpensively local numbers. You can rent them, local numbers. So for on a landing page or whatever, you can have that number so you can identify it. If you step up your game and you go into AdWords, Google will supply you. Of course, the usual price is applied, but they will supply you with the appropriate numbers to see where that's coming from. Is it this part of Canada, that part of Canada, this part of the U.S., that part of the U.S.? So,
Carlo, I have to stop you. I've tried to get a Google number, and we can't. It's not available to us in Canada.
Well, you can't have the beautiful part of the country and the free numbers. I'm sorry. That was the price you paid. You want to move in downtown? Yeah, okay, we'll give you numbers.
Yeah, I've been watching that for a while, and
so Lolan, have you thought about going to the service that Steve Dotto provides that allows you to have a server outside of Canada?
Yeah, well, that might be one way to go. That's for sure.
I'm sure if you do a search, you'll find enough providers that will lease you at a sensible price, monthly price, an inbound line.
Yeah.
But that's I mean, you folks are bringing up something very important. I might share with everyone the fact I don't have a landline. The only phone I have is my smartphone, and it never leaves my side. However, if I'm in a meeting or something, I quite often, the phone rings, I quite often just put a message that says, sorry, I'm in a meeting. Usually when that kind of a call comes in, unless it's somebody I know, they don't leave a message. And so and maybe those calls that I'm referring to are just sales calls anyway, or robocalls or whatever you call them. But yeah, it's making us all realize that we've got to become a lot more efficient about how we have our systems set up, so that we don't miss those calls.
Lola, again with the phones, many of us don't given up our landline, and I'm old enough, young enough to remember that if you couldn't give somebody your home number, they thought you were a flight risk.
Flaky. Yeah.
And now it's like, no, I don't have a home number. You know, it's my cell number.
I think that's a Vegas thing, Carlo.
It's a what? Vegas thing?
I think that's a Vegas thing.
And and you're right. You're right. A lot of those calls that you get when they hang up, okay, people are reticent to leave a message, but majority of them are robocalls or telemarketers, particularly when you're identified as a business number. And so they're not worth it anyway. If somebody's really wants to reach you, they'll just say, you know, hey, I'm interested, call me back. A funny story, back in 1962, upstate New York, Craig, where I born and raised between New York City and New York State, the Empire State, a friend of mine had an ambulance service and a funeral home. And I go over to, as a buddy, we're going to go out to lunch, and I go over to the funeral home, and he's so excited. On a desk, remember in the day when you had a special section of your home for your telephone?
Yeah.
Everybody converged in that room to use that device? Okay. So Dick, I won't mention his last name, he's got this beautiful, shiny recorder phone. He goes, Carlo, look at this. I got an answering service, and I'm laughing my backside off. And he goes, what's so funny? I said, I could just see some poor old guy is, you know, keeled over, and the missus is calling, and he goes, hi, this is Dick. We can't take your call right now. Please try again later. And he goes, shit. I said, the recorder phone call guy sold you good.
Yeah.
But what a sales process. If you don't answer the ambulance call, you've got the backup service.
The ambulance service would leave a message.
Yeah. Yeah. But they should have had a plug for the funeral home there.
Yes. An add-on message. If we don't get back to you in time, please call our other number for funeral services.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm noticing here Heidi has left a message. She says, I often get requests for Hangouts. She has that on her website, but who I see doesn't seem to come from my website, but something like spam from Google+. I get notifications. I think it depends on the way you have your notifications set up, Heidi, whether you get those things or not.
Yeah, it's definitely the settings inside Google that you can figure those out. So you need to take a look at the settings and make sure that notifications come only from where you expect them.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as voice for Italy, apparently it is available in Italy, but only to, it won't forward to an Italian phone number.
Yeah. I mean, I can, and the other thing that I've noticed about using Google Phone is, from here anyway, this is my experience, if I phone somebody I know from that phone number, it looks like it is an American phone number, and so the call gets mistaken as a marketing call, and so people don't answer. So that's the experience that we have here in Canada at this stage of the game, because because we can't get that one number that's yours. Yeah,
May I suggest to help minimize that is whether it's your landing page or your website that says, you know, thank you, your message received, you will get a call back from number within the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that if it's an unknown number, you're not reticent to pick up the phone.
Good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. So yeah, it's I mean, but we I mean this whole mobile piece is something that we all really need to think about. And as I think through the example that Jay gave, yes, I want to make an appointment to get somebody to come clean my house. Or another one that I really like to use from my phone is to book an appointment for a haircut. A lot of those things we like to be able to use our smartphones for. Where I'm struggling in my own mind, one of the things that I'm asking people to do on my website is to connect with me for a consultation. And it's kind of unlikely, I think, that somebody would do that from a phone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We did some testing with personal services, and depending who your market is, if you have a younger crowd, they're going to sit there and ... fill in all the blanks in the calendar. But someone like ourselves, solopreneurs, senior solopreneurs, it's like, can't be bothered, you know.
Yeah.
Just want a damn appointment. I don't know that fancy stuff. So next to that, you just say, you know, click to call, and we'll call you back and set up the appointment.
Yeah.
So.
Well, last week I think I mentioned there is a plugin that you can get that allows a person to leave a voicemail message on your website.
Yeah, but we go back to what you said earlier. If they're not leaving a voice message on your device, what's going to motivate them to leave it on your plugin?
Yeah. So it's a tricky thing.
So, Carlos, may I ask, have you done any experimentation with booking services?
Yeah, that's what I was referring. Thank you, Paul. That's what I was referring to. What happens is, if you have several practitioners in one group, let's say it's well, any personal service. I want to identify one industry.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you're the owner, sometimes that booking appointment falls into cracks. The smaller solopreneurs, the price point is $29.95 for these booking services, and so it's really really a judgment call as to, do you want to put someone through the pain of filling out that form, or do you want to save them to later when they fill out buy form? And so my experimentation shows that we did away with the online appointment scheduler, put a button, said click here, and we'll call you back to set an appointment, and that's gotten much better results.
Really?
Then I book your appointment now.
I beg your pardon, Paul?
Then a book your appointment now button?
Yeah, but for that reason, there's no shortage of companies that will sell you these unique services. And some of them are quite good and exotic, and some of them aren't really worth the dialogue box they're covered on. And there are more missed appointments. I mean, you can imagine that some lady 55 plus goes through all the trouble of pecking away at a glass screen and show up in the salon or show up wherever, and it's like, who are you? She's going to be the last time she'd be there. Okay.
I think that the booking service that I'm used to using for my hairdresser once you're in there as one of their customers, it kind of you don't have to type much in it, and then it pre-fills.
Yes, I'm familiar with those.
Yeah, and what I love about it is that I can make the appointment at any time of the day or night when I think of it, and eventually I'll get a text back from the hairdresser herself.
Cool. Now, Lola, do you do that from your phone or from the screen for your desktop?
Actually, I have to think about that. I think up till now I've only done it from my screen. I must try that from my phone next time, just for the fun of it. Yeah.
If the forms are mobile friendly, one of the problems I have with contact pages of websites is if they don't reformat, they're too small to fill in.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what I've been doing is connecting a landing page and replacing my contact pages with both for the metrics and for the quick response.
Yeah.
They're wide enough, tall enough that you can thumb it in.
Yeah, but much easier. I mean, if you're in their database, if it just pre-fills, that's fabulous.
Right. So that's one more database you can get hacked from.
Oh, I suppose. I suppose that's true. Now, before we close this morning, I want to share something with all of you. Allow me to do a rant, please. I went looking for, in town here, yeah, he's going to plug his ears. I went looking for the company that did my magnetized name badge. I have one and it's getting tired looking and I want to order a new one. So I went looking online for the company that I got the first one from, and they're not there anymore. So then I widened my scope and so forth. I found this company, and it's all laid out within Google Maps, and it shows pictures and all of this. I go to this shop, and there's nothing there. So then I phone the next day on a Saturday, no answer. So obviously they're not open on Saturday. So I left a message. And on Monday, I got a phone call saying, "Oh, yes, we've moved." And we don't. So I'm saying, so where are you now? Oh, we don't want anybody to come to our shop. We don't have a place that you can come to anymore. So I'm saying, so are you saying you're out of business? Oh no, she says. So if you want a badge done, you have to send me an email with all the information that you want on it, etc., and we'll mail it to you. And so I'm saying, and so then how would I pay for this? Well, then you'll have to send an application, fill in an application for the use of a credit card. Talk about making. I mean, can you imagine anything more convoluted and more difficult? Just couldn't believe it. So there's the exact opposite of what we were just talking about. You know, making it really, really simple to access our service, and that our website needs to be really simple. I can tell you for sure, I am definitely not going to be going any further with that particular company locally. And when I suggested she might like to change all their information online, she said, "Well, I think we changed our website, but maybe we changed the website, but they didn't make any changes in Google Places or anything else." So.
Lolan, even if they've changed the website, would you, and put the information she gave you up there, would you still do business with them?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, Nathan's hit it.
Yeah. I mean,
this
yes.
is the problem that I run into all the time here. People don't understand that their first point of contact is online, and they don't understand that it's the most important thing that they can do in business these days is to have a good online presence so that when people are looking for them, they find them.
Yeah.
I had a jeweler that I was trying to work with, and it's like talking to a brick wall.
Well, and maybe it's because the owner doesn't use a phone or doesn't use any of that any of those pieces, and so he just doesn't think anybody else does either.
So, Lolan, when we were talking about that simple buying process,
Yes.
the portion of it, the buy in there, is exactly what we're talking about now. And
Yeah.
it does astound me that businesses make it so difficult for me to do business with them. I'm sure once a week I'm about to buy something and just get frustrated, whether it's online or in a store, and walk out. And to me, it's astounding that people who understand their product very well or that are able to provide a service very well don't understand the interface between their product or service and a customer. It's astounding.
Yeah. So I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Carlo.
Paul, to that end, Paul, with a lot of people, they think just by broadcasting a piece of information on the internet, they're doing business online. And really, the key thing is, if you're going to use the internet to conduct business, you should really understand how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, as Lolan pointed out, you're not secretly dealing with some company in another part of the world who's trying to drop ship, things like that. If you want to buy locally, you should be able to see local representation. So that's one of the educational processes with the people I'm working with. They just want to broadcast, and as it's called, post and pray. They post a message and pray someone's going to contact them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's harder and harder to help people understand the difference between that post and pray and the whole engagement marketing now.
I'll leave you the content. The healthy corpses of failed businesses is what a free market economy exists on. So whether you put in a URL and it's no longer there, whether you walk into the mall and there's this pizzazz boutique that you went to last month and it says for lease, think about the healthy corpses of failed businesses, what the free market economy feeds on. And that just gets all the kids off the playing field.
Yeah, for sure.
And
the beauty is, with the internet, small business, and small business could be $25 million and below. And according to the pollsters, always wanted a level playing field. Now they have it. Many don't know what to do with it.
Yes.
You know, either they're spraying you with emails, or they're misusing it, stuff like that.
Yeah. So it is incumbent on all of us as small businesses to stay on top of how it all works, and that's why we're doing what we're doing right here, isn't it?
That's the beauty of this group. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Lolan, to a point that you said about, and Carlos, about talking to people about the process. I've come to the point where I'm really not dealing with people anymore that don't understand it and don't get it. I'm giving up my preacher gown, and I'm moving on to, I just got tired of talking to people that didn't get it. And as Carlos said, we'll see them at their funeral.
Right.
In fact, this may be a new business concept. We should have the small business funeral blab. Maybe we can convince people to do the right thing by listening to people who did the wrong thing.
Right. You're right, Paul. I respectfully, when working with those prospective clients, if I can see that it's going to be, you're going to have to put in more than you're going to get out of it, I just somehow explain that it's not going to be a fit, and save yourself the anguish, because it's one thing to take all your accumulated knowledge and skills of how to use this medium, and it's another thing to get the client to properly implement it.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't implement, they go back and say, well, we hired these people, but they didn't really do too much for us. So we're going back to chiseling it on stone.
Right.
Yes, and I'm sure at that point you respectfully refer them to your competition, right?
As soon as I get your address, I'm going to. I want to see your hair stand up.
Oh, dear. So I'm looking at the time, folks. We're 8 minutes after 10. So that's about exactly an hour. So I think it's time for us to wrap up today's conversation. I really enjoyed this conversation. I've come away with some ideas about an approach that I might like to take, just to get things a little more simple and a little more straightforward. So I think those who had to drop off, I see Nathan had to drop off, and Jay had to go back to his conference. So thank you so much for those of you who have hung in here. And I think that this learning how to follow and do our work against the buying process is a very worthwhile way to think through what we're doing. So thank you all. I invite those who are listening out there to join the Being Your Own CEO community on Google+. And if YouTube is your pleasure, you could join my channel. It's there and has a copy of all of our Hangouts that we've done over the last year and a half or so. So thanks for joining us, and this is Laurel Ann signing off for this week.